Afternoon. And a very warm welcome to the Alhambra Theater on this last day at sea aboard the beautiful Independence of the Seas. Are you having a good time? Come on, let's hear it. How many of you are going home to cold weather? Yeah, I know. Well, keep your hands together. I want to start right off by separating you out into groups of 3 different types of people. But what I need you to do is I need you to clap with me. We're going to clap. And when I get ready, I'm going to start counting down from 3. And it's going to be a 3, 2, 1, and then stop. Keep clapping. And when you stop, I want you to keep your hands right where they are. Can you do that? It's important. 3, 2, 1, and stop. Okay, I want you to look to your neighbors to the left. I want you to look to your neighbors to the right. I want you to make sure that you've looked at that. Now, here's what I want you to understand. There are 3 kinds of people in this room today, and I have sorted you out just by this little act. Those of you with your right thumb over top of your left thumb, right thumb over the left thumb, you are the sexy people in the room. That's right. Look over there. See the sexy people. There are not as many sexy men in the room because there is a contest going on right now for the sexiest man aboard. Now, for those of you, don't feel left out, if you have your left thumb over your right thumb, you are the smart people in the group. Anything happens on the boat, you follow them. The sexy might wiggle, but the smart's going to get you out of here. Now, that leaves one more set of people. If you have your thumbs together, side by side, you just think you're smart and sexy. Now, that offends some people, but I want you to know that, this can happen again and again. And now that you know the rules, you can pick what you want to be. I normally pick sexy. I normally go with the right over the left, and I go for sexy. But I've been on this cruise for almost 8 days. I lost sexy a few days back. I've been eating a lot of food. Anybody else with me? Horrible. Love the food. Hate the circles. So that's what you are. I don't want you to remember that. If you're smart, I want you to remember it. If you're sexy, I want you to remember it. If you're not smart nor sexy, it's okay. You can still play along. My name is Blaine Parks. I am the CEO and founder of an organization called Dream Building Enterprises. We work with individuals and businesses to help them achieve success, and we provide the tools that help them get there. Now, today's presentation is going to be something a little different than I normally do. And some of you are here because you're interested in success. Some of you are here because you're looking for that next level. You're looking for another challenge. Some of you have this dream inside of you you're trying to get out. That's half of you. The other half of you, come on, at least give me half. The other half of you are here because there's dogs in the room. Am I right? Well, what I've been asked to do is to give you a little bit of both. I'm going to split my personality right in the middle. On this side, I'm going to inspire you. And on this side, I'm going to educate you. We're going to have an education class about the dogs in the room. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to split this thing right down the middle. But I don't want to waste any of your time. I want to dive right in. I want to give you some good content. I want to give you some good education. One way or another, you're going to leave out of here with something you did not know. My name is Blaine Parks. I have now done my job. There we go, right? So let me dive right in. And if it's okay, I want to start with a story. It's a story about a 6-year-old little boy. His name is Zachary. And Zachary is the nephew of a good friend of mine. And I was over their house one day, and we were visiting. And their parents were there, and my friend was there. And Zachary and his older brother, just a couple years older, are racing all around the house. You've seen kids do this. They're one side of the room. They're the other side of the room. They're bouncing off the walls. They're knocking over tables. They only stop to eat. Well, these kids are running around the room, and they're little kids, so it is still cool to wear just your underwear. You can't do it now. Some of you might, but it's not cool. It's not cool. But Zachary is 6 years old, and he's running around with his brother all over the house, and he's not just wearing any underwear. Not any underwear. He's wearing superhero underoos. Right? You've seen these. This is the underwear that has the superhero on them. And they have all kinds of superheroes. Whatever your action hero is, you can get one. If Barney the dinosaur is yours, you can get that. Superman, Spider-Man, anything. Well, Zachary's running around the house, chasing his brother, bouncing off the walls in these superhero underoos. And if you know anything about little boys' underwear, I know that's a weird question, stay with me. If you know anything about little boys' underwear, thank you, ma'am, thank you, I appreciate that. They have a flap in the front for anatomy reasons, right? And there's no flap on the back. There's not a trap door. Little boys' underwear, flap in the front, no flap in the back. Well, Zachary's racing around, and superhero underoos are just like any other underwear. There's a flap in the front, but the picture's on the back. As Zach's running around, I'm laughing. We're telling stories. We're trying to stay out of the way. And there's injuries involved here. And I noticed that in Zachary's case, he's running around with a trap door. Zachary has the flap on the back of his underwear. Well, I'm an adult, so I do what any normal adult will do. I call him over. There's a problem. I said, Zachary, come here for a minute. And he comes running over, little 6-year-old, cute, blonde hair. And he says, yes, Mr. Blaine, because he's also got good manners. He calls me Mr. Blaine. I said, Zachary, I don't want to alarm you, but isn't there something wrong with your underwear, your underoos? I love them. I think they're great, but isn't there something wrong? And he looked at me a little confused. You know how little kids do? It's like when food doesn't show up. And so he's looking at me confused. So I tried to explain it to him. I said, Zachary, I think your underoos are on backwards, young man. And he gets kind of defiant. He just leans in. He says, no, Mr. Blaine, they're not on backwards. Well, I'm an adult, and I'm not going to lose an argument with a 6-year-old. So I start to explain to him, yes, Zachary, they are indeed on backwards because we are boys, we are men. Flap on the front, no flap on the back. Your flap's on the back, your flap's not on the front. Your underwear's on backwards. He steps in with both feet now. Little kid's just killing me. And he says, no, Mr. Blaine, my underoos are not on backwards. You have to keep the superhero where you can see them. I had just been taught something by a 6-year-old, sat right back down, said, I agree. Zachary was right. You indeed do need to keep your underoos turned around. So if you're wearing them and they're backwards, ladies and gentlemen, go to the bathroom, turn them around, and come back. We have to keep our heroes where we can see them. Now, I'm fortunate today that in this room, I am surrounded by some people that are heroes to me. We all have heroes. Some of us choose celebrities. We take sports heroes. The Olympics are going on right now. I'm sure that some of the athletes are going to become heroes to some people. Some of you choose church leaders, family members, but we all have a hero. In fact, maybe you're a hero to somebody else. But I'm fortunate today to have 42 people and 10 dogs that I call heroes. These dogs are incredible. The people that are here with them are incredible. And I want to tell you a few things about them as we go through today's presentation. First and foremost, these dogs take a long time to train. These dogs start out as puppies. You would expect that. That's where they come from. And there's foster puppy families, over 180 families that help raise these puppies. After the first year and a half, they come back to the headquarters, and they're trained for another 6 months or a year, specifically for the person they're going to be partnered with. It's a long process. The dogs are then trained specifically for the person and their disability so that they can serve them in the way that they're trained to serve. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of time. In fact, it costs between $25,000 and $40,000 to place one of these dogs. You heard me right, between $25,000 and $40,000 to place one of these dogs. And there are people that volunteer their time. There's an organization called Paws with a Cause. That's what we're going to talk about today, Paws with a Cause. Thank you. Paws with a Cause does a lot of work to make this happen. It takes time. It takes money. But when that client meets that dog for the very first time, sometimes they've waited a lifetime for this. You hear that? Oh, yeah, I hear it over here. They can wait a long time for these dogs. So the first time they meet their dog, folks, it's magic. It is magic. This dog is built and trained specifically to help them live a more independent life. What you see as a dog, they see as independence. So my heroes, my everyday heroes, because in my personal life, I like to find ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Those are my heroes. Any of you out there got that? Ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Paws with a cause, their volunteers, their staff members, and their clients, and the dogs are those people and those heroes to me. Now, I'm going to close out this story with the story of Zachary with this one thought, because it occurs to me that most superheroes wear capes. Yes? Every assistance dog wears what? A cape. We're going to call it a cape. I don't think it's a coincidence. They are indeed heroes. But I promise you today that we're going to talk about two things. We're going to talk about the assistance dogs, and I'm going to talk about something that helps you get beyond the ordinary, out of the monotony, and get you to a place that I call living above the noise. Living above the noise, living above the chaos, living above the everyday doldrums. How many of you feel sometimes that you get stuck there? Every day is like, another day, here we go to work, I can't go here. Oh, wait, here's another day, go back to work. Oh, here we go. Well, we're going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about 5 things that help you live above the noise. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to weave in a little bit about what Paws does and the assistance dogs. So let's get started right away. I don't want to waste any more of your time. The very first thing that people that are successful do is what? They dream big. They dream big. Now, I know a few things about you in the room, even though we may have never met before. The first thing I know, it seems to be a universal truth. Everywhere that I speak, every time I ask this question, I get a very similar response. When I ask people, what do you want out of life? Some of you will give me a very specific answer, but most people, even if you give me a specific answer, what they say to me is, I want more. We're human beings. We're built to want more, do more, be more, have more. So, first thing they say is, I want more. The second thing they tell me, and it almost follows right on the heels, is not only do you want more, when do you want it? Now, right. You want it right now. You don't want it tomorrow. You don't want it next week, next month. You want it now. In fact, you want it yesterday. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be participatory. There are people in the hallway that would like to come in here, and they don't know we're here. So what do you want? More. I'm going to back that up. What do you want? More. All right, half of you want something. When do you want it? Now. How are you going to get it? Now. You see, right there is where everything falls apart. You know that you want more, and you know that you want it now, but most people don't know how to get there. Because of what I do for a living, I get the chance to meet a lot of very successful people. A lot of people that are doing things that are beyond what you imagine maybe even possible for yourself. And I want to talk about some of the traits that they have. And the first one is they dream big. They dream what? Big. There we go. See, now you're participating. There's people in the hallway, folks, walking by. We've got to bring them in. They dream bigger than we do. Each and every one of us is built for bigger things. We each all have a purpose inside of us. You've heard that so many times, and you're probably sick of hearing it. There's a dream inside of you waiting to get out. We're built for greatness. You're not built for monotony. You're not built for the ordinary. But most of us never seem to get there. Would you agree with that? A lot of people just don't seem to get to that place where they're being more, having more, doing more. And the first thing that people that are achieving that, I want to talk about them for a little bit, is that they dream bigger than we do. They live life differently than we do. They don't live life in a way that we can't live it, but they do live differently. They achieve more than many of us do. They don't achieve more than is possible for us to achieve, but they achieve more than many of us do. We look at them and say, wow, how'd you do all that? Few people. Richard Branson, does he have a small dream? This man is going to space. You know how his airline started? It started on vacation because he was stuck in St. Thomas. We went past St. Thomas. He was in St. Thomas, and the airplane to Puerto Rico was canceled. He went and rented an airplane, divided it up, put up a sign that said, Virgin Airlines, it was $39 to get you from St. Thomas to Puerto Rico. He had never chartered a plane. He had never started an airline. That's how it started. He just had bigger dreams. He wanted to be in Puerto Rico. What about Steve Jobs? Do you think Steve Jobs had small dreams? This man revolutionized what we see today in electronics. Let's go a little further back. What about the Wright brothers? Orville and Wilbur Wright. Here's two guys that own a bicycle shop. Everybody knows that. Did you know that every single day they'd pack a lunch, and the Wright brothers and their team would go out with enough spare parts to crash 5 times? Imagine going to work knowing you're going to crash 5 times, and that's the end of the day. They'd pack a lunch, and they'd take enough spare parts, they'd crash 5 times and come home. What you may not know is that none of them, not Orville, not Wilbur, nobody had a college degree. Nobody on their team had a college degree. And yet they're out there dreaming about trying to build the first powered machine that flies. There were a lot of other people that were out there doing that. Pierpont Langley was one of them, and he had lots of degrees on his team. He had all kinds of money. The media followed him everywhere. And trust me, he didn't crash 5 times a day. They told the Wright brothers that it couldn't be done, that they couldn't do it. They never listened. They just kept dreaming. So those are names that you know. Richard Branson, we agreed he dreams big. Steve Jobs, we've agreed he dreams big. The Wright brothers, we've agreed they dream big. But what about Mike Sapp? Does anybody know who Mike Sapp is? Let me introduce to you. Well, we got a few people. Mike Sapp is the founder of Paws with a Cause. And 35 years ago, I was just a baby. Okay, maybe not a baby. You know, ladies, that sexiest man aboard is going on upstairs. We know why I'm not there. Don't rub it in. 35 years ago, Mike Sapp had a dream. And he trained the very first dog as a hearing assist dog. Dog's name was Crystal. He trained it for somebody to help them they were hard of hearing. The dog was to alert for some sounds and help them. Since then, that 35 years ago, they have trained over 2,500 dogs to place with people with disabilities. And those are both disabilities that you can see and the ones that you can't see. He trains dogs. Paws of the Cause trains dogs for people with mobility impairment. They train dogs for children with autism. Man, I'd have known that. They train dogs for people that are hard of hearing as an alert dog. And they train dogs for people that suffer from seizures. And would you agree that seizures are an invisible disability? But it's very real. It's a very real disability. So since 1979, when this guy, Mike Sapp, who you didn't know just a minute ago, dreamed about providing an organization that met the needs of people living with disabilities and giving them a way to live a more independent life, 2,500 dogs, 180 foster families making that happen, hundreds of other volunteers making it happen. These people made this happen for 10 clients with their dogs, 42 people, family members and support group, to be here. And we want to thank you, the public, for helping us get there. Thank you. So Mike Sapp is a name that you should know. I'm happy that you know Richard Branson. I'm happy that you know Steve Jobs. I'm happy that you remember the Wright brothers. But Mike Sapp is a name that I want you to remember also. Him and his staff do amazing things. So who are your heroes? And are you dreaming big? You deserve to dream big. I don't want you to dream about something, if you're going to have a goal of, I'm going to lose 10 pounds, why don't we change that to, I'm going to revolutionize my health. Whatever it is, make it bigger, make it better. So the first thing that people do, successful people do, is they do what? They dream. Wow, that's great. Dream. See, work with me, people. We're still trying to drag them in the back. Sir in the back, come on in. The second thing they do is you not only dream big, you have to be bold. I want you to live your life like a character out of a book, an adventure book. I want you to be, if you're male, I want you to be Indiana Jones. If you're female, Queen Sheba. Whoever you want to be, but live boldly. You walk with purpose. You keep walking. I got this. I'm dreaming, I'm big, I'm bold. I want you to be bold in what you do. I've been working with Paws with a Cause for 10 years now. I'm a volunteer. They don't pay me, I'm just a volunteer. Thank you. If we can get that on tape, that may be the only standing ovation I get. Thank you. But 10 years ago, my relationship with Paws changed. I was sitting around a table talking about riding motorcycles all around the country. That seemed like a fun thing to do. And we're laughing about it, and we're planning this trip and think it's going to be great, and we're going to take a few months to do it, and we're going to go through all lower 48 states, when somebody had the audacity to remind me that I had 2 golden retrievers. And they weren't going to fit on my motorcycles. You talk about a dream crusher. Do you know these people? You come up and you say, I got the best idea ever. And they say, sure. Well, I had a dream. I was going to ride around the country on motorcycles until I realized that I had dogs. So I put it away out of my head. And as I'm getting up from the table, there was wine involved. I got up slow. Somebody at the far end of the table said, why don't you just put them in sidecars and go anyway? Well, I went to bed. I kind of laughed about it. And folks, this is a very true story. I went to bed late with the wine, and I believe that the wine's important. So if you have a big dream, drink. Drink. Just saying it right now. And if you don't drink, start drinking that night. You have a great idea. It does 2 things. 1, your head hurts so bad you're not going to listen to anybody in the morning and talk you out of it. And 2, it seemed to. 6 hours later, I woke up with a complete business plan. Complete business plan. And this is no lie. The people that were there in the room, when I got up the next morning, I was on fire. I was doing that bold walk. I was ready to go. And here's what I decided to do. I was going to take 2 Harley Davidsons. Because I'm an American, we're going through America, I wanted an American motorcycle. For those of you that ride Hondas, I love them as well, but this was an American ride. 48 states, here we go. Red, white, and blue underneath the shirt, ready to go. But not only are we going to take 2 Harley Davidsons, my dogs are coming with me. I'm going to strap on those sidecars. I'm going to put these dogs in goggles. In fact, they actually make some called doggles. I'm going to put them in a red, white, and blue cape that flows in the wind as they go down the street. Do you think I might get a little attention with that? Yes. So if I'm going to get a little attention, why don't I do something with it? Ladies and gentlemen, if you're doing something that gets attention, I encourage you to do something with it, and not just to take all the attention for yourself. So I was being bold. I got up and I told everyone, we're going to get 2 motorcycles, we're going to get 2 sidecars, we're going to put the dogs in it, we're going to put the goggles, we're going to put the thing. My interpreter's killing me over there, I know it. I'll let her catch up. And here we go. Okay, so what we decided was we were going to take a trip through all lower 48 states to do education in schools, to raise awareness, to do fundraising, because these dogs, I told you, they're expensive. $25,000 to $40,000 per dog. I wanted to change the time you have to wait. If you have a sight impairment, I want to distinguish between what Paws with a Cause does and what other organizations do for sight dogs. If our eyes are lost to us today, sir in the white hat, if you lost your vision today, we could have you enrolled and ready to be placed with a dog in under 3 months. Wow. Ma'am, if you were in an accident that left you with some disability that was not sight related, how long do you think it's going to take? 2 to 3 years. It's a long wait, right? What I wanted to do was change that. That was my goal. I was going to be bold about that. I wanted to go and do education on these motorcycles with these dogs with the flowing red, white, and blue capes. They were heroes to me. And so we went off and took 218 days on the road, 26,000 miles, went through all lower 48 states. Let me tell you, folks, it looked something like this to get to all lower 48 states, nonstop and continuously. We were on the CBS Early Show, CNN, Animal Planet Radio and Television. We were everywhere sharing this message. It wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. But I was bold in what I was going to do. So I know what it takes to be bold. And I'm encouraging you, whatever your dream is, I want you to dream big. And I want you to walk around like that character in a book, and I want you to be bold about it. But what you don't know, here's the kicker for that story. 26,000 miles, 218 days on the road, national television, all this blah, 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 blah. I had never ridden a motorcycle in my life. My wife at the time had never ridden a motorcycle in her life. And it's pretty safe to say the dogs had never, I don't think, had ever ridden a motorcycle in their life. So really stepping out of my comfort zone. I'd never started a charity. 5 months from the time I woke up with that idea, we hit the road. So don't tell me what you can't do. Don't tell me that you don't have it in you. If you have a dream, you want you to dream big. And if you're going to chase that dream, you have to be what? You have to be? Bold. There we go. See, now you're playing with me. Thank you. But if you're going to be bold, I'm going to tell you right now, based on my experience, you have to bring in bold's cousin. Bold's cousin, work hard's one of them, but bold's cousin, nephew, if you will, brave. Exactly, brave. If you're going to dream big and you're going to be bold, you have to be brave. I did things I'd never done before. You get on a motorcycle and start racing down the road. Left the comfort of your home. You know that we didn't have a team that followed us. There was no support van. 2 motorcycles, 2 dogs, 48 states, 218 days, 17,000 T-shirts sold. There's a couple T-shirts in this room here, by the way. If you see them, they're Hogs for Dogs was the name of the organization. That's what we did. But you have to be brave. You have to do things that others won't do. And when I talk to people, when I'm doing success coaching and I'm doing some workshops and seminars, one of the things we talk about is this bravery. And what we find is, when I ask people what stops you from achieving what it is you're after, what stops you from doing what it is you want to do, what do you think? Give me some things. Shout them out. What stops you? I hear some money up here. I hear some time over here. Well, I heard the real answer right here. Fear. Fear, that 4-letter word. Fear stops us. And I promised I was going to teach you something today, and I intend to do that right here, right now with fear. A friend of mine by the name of Rhonda Britton, who you may or may not know. Rhonda has been on Oprah dozens of times. She's been on almost every morning show, doing a lot of special stuff that she does. She's an international best-selling author. She runs the Fearless Living Institute. She might know a thing or two about fear. I'm not going to tell you her story and how she learned about fear, because that's for her to share with you, not for me. But I will tell you that she knows a lot about fear. And she taught me a few things that I'm going to share with you that you may not know. This is that point where I give you insight, information above the obvious. The first thing is, fear is as smart as you are. You know why? Because it's been with you your entire life. Every time you learn something, fear learns it with you. Every time you get educated, every time you grow, every time you have an experience, fear is right there with you. So if fear is everywhere with us, and smart as us, and sometimes smarter than us, you have to ask the question. I did. I was sitting and listening to Rhonda one day, and she told me that, fear is as smart as I am. I was disappointed. I thought I was smarter. You probably thought you were smarter than fear, but you're not. So I asked the question, if fear is as smart as I am, and it goes everywhere I go, and it learns as fast as I do, how am I going to get past this? Well, let's ask a different question first. Here's the question I want you to ask yourself. What is the number one purpose that fear has in our life? Do you believe that fear is trying to stop you from achieving your goals? I heard a yes down here. Actually, fear loves you. Fear's only thing in the world that it wants to do is keep you safe. If I come to the edge of the stage, or the edge of a cliff, and I start to lean out, and I start look like I'm going to fall. Ma'am, I promise I won't. I don't think. Watch me, though. If I start to lean out like I'm going to fall, you hear that voice in the back of your head, right? And all it's saying to me right now is, what are you doing? You haven't said, hey, y'all, watch this. But fear's trying to keep me safe. I feel it, and I hear the voice. And that voice echoes inside each of us. It's normal to have fears. It's not unusual. It's not unusual to have fears. Whatever. I'm sorry. I get distracted. I'm like that. Trust me, I don't sing nearly as well. But fear loves you. And fear is just trying to keep us safe. That's all it's trying to do. So Rhonda, being the brilliant woman that she is, didn't leave me with the idea that fear loves me and that fear is smarter than I am, because then I'm just stuck. Now what I have is someone that's as smart as me that loves me. That's nice. Won't let me get what I need to get done because it seems to stop me. Somebody on it. Here's what she taught me. And this is a humorous exercise, but I encourage each of you, every time you hear this voice in the back of your head that sounds like reason, you know the voice, it sounds like your own voice. Blaine, yes. Blaine, that's probably not a smart thing to do. you're probably not going to get there. You know, we tried this before, Blaine, and it didn't work out so well. I wouldn't ask her out again. Fear loves you. And then that voice starts talking to you. Here's what Rhonda recommends. I have done it dozens of times since she has taught this to me. And trust me, I don't have time to go into my bucket list of things that I've done, but riding motorcycles across the country, it's just a small piece. So I understand fear and how to push through it. But this is what I do since Rhonda taught me this. I want you to have a conversation with fear. I want you to lean in. Remember Zachary? Leaned in. He was defiant, telling me I didn't know. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to say, fear. And I say, you know, fear doesn't like that. Fear likes to think that you believe it's your own voice. But I want you to call it out. Fear, I know that you love me. And I know that you just want to keep me safe. But fear, we have to have this conversation because there's something that I want to do. There's something that I need to do. And while I know that you love me and you're just trying to keep me safe, there's a chance that we're going to grow. There's a chance that we're going to stretch. And there's even a chance that we're going to get hurt. But I have to do this, and I'm going to do it anyway. And this is where you have to get angry sometimes. And you lean in. This is my fighting stance, by the way. I don't win many fights, but this is my fighting stance. You say, fear, you need to shut the heck up and let me do this. But that's not really fair to fear. Fear loves you, so you can't leave it like that. And I want you to close it, come full circle with, and fear, I love you too. That's how you get through it. It sounds crazy. It sounds stupid. But I tell you, I started doing this little exercise. And it becomes so funny that when you do it, I now have those conversations less and less because I have fewer and fewer fears. I didn't think it would work, but it does. So what are your fears? What are you pushing through? You have to be brave. Are you going to be able to get there? You know, I wonder what would have happened if Mike Sapp listened to that fear 35 years ago. I wonder what would have happened to the 2,500 dogs that were placed with people with disabilities if he had listened to that fear. He didn't. And because of that, there are thousands of people living with disabilities that now have a service animal that helps them live more independently. So if you have fear, I want you to push through it. So I need you to dream big. I need you to be bold, walk that strut. I need you to be brave. Now the next piece is where most people get stuck. I'm not going to lie, I've been there and I've been stuck here. And that is, you need to be committed. You need to be committed. Successful people are committed. They're single-minded in going after what they want in life. Are you single-minded? Can you focus on what you want to do? Do you have that drive, that commitment? I find that most people can't even follow simple instructions. That's what I believe. I believe most people can't even follow simple instructions. You're probably saying, well, that's not me. Well, I tell you what. I have developed a test that I can do right here with you to determine your ability to follow simple instructions, and this will determine your ability to focus and be committed. Are you willing to work with me just for a little bit? Yes. Okay. You may have to stand up. I'm not sure. We'll see how this works for you. The seats may be too close together. But here's what I want you to do. And everybody, even in the back, I see you. Up on top, I see you. You can't hide from me. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to just follow my instructions, and we're going to see how well you can focus. Hands out in front of you, ladies and gentlemen. Hands out in front of you. All right. If you can't do it sitting down, lean forward or stand up, it's okay. Next thing I want you to do, with your hands out in front of you, there's some people that are not participating. I see you. There it is. Okay. Hands out. Now I want you to turn your hands upside down. This is sort of like aerobics, but you've eaten enough, you need this. Don't lie. Look at me. That's the way I look now. Hands upside down. Now raise your right hand. Now see, we already have some people that have the wrong hand up. The smart ones in the group, remember the smart ones? Will you show the sexy ones what to do? Right hand. I want you to take your right hand and go over top of your left. It's getting more difficult. And lock your fingers together. And once you've locked your fingers together, I want to make sure you put your right thumb over your left thumb. And I want you to point your fingers. So your two index fingers are pointing. That's what it looks like. Right thumb over your left. Sir, it's the right thumb. Okay. Do you have your right? Okay. So Now, if we have done that correctly, we should all be able to do this. Ladies and gentlemen, we were talking about those people out there a minute ago, about not being able to focus and follow simple instructions. We may have a problem here. Did anybody get it? See? Okay, now I do that for a reason. And this is what I do. When you see these dogs walking around the boat this week, there's 418 people on the boat and only 10 dogs. You don't remember anybody else, but you know there's a dog on the boat. Most of us say, what a pretty dog. Raise your hand if that's something you've thought in your head. What a pretty dog. What normally follows that is people believe that these dogs are pretty and they do neat tricks. Ladies and gentlemen, what I just did with you is a trick. What these dogs do is a task. They know, in general terms, over 100 tasks for the person they're assigned with. They're not tricks. Some of those tasks are simple things. Maybe you don't know what they can do. They can pick up things as small as a dime from the ground if you can't reach down to get it, for whatever reason. They can open and close doors. They can turn on and off lights. Thankfully, they've not done it today on me here. They can put laundry in a washer, out of a washer, in a dryer, out of a dryer. We're working on the folding piece. They do a lot of simple things. And you might be saying in your head, well, that sounds like a trick. But they also do some things more important than that. They can get the telephone and bring it to you in the case of an emergency. For a person that suffers with seizures, they help break your fall. They'll lay across you, keep you safe. They can run to get a magnet that works with the vagus nerve stimulator that they have in their chest, which will lessen, or in some cases, alleviate an oncoming seizure. And if they're in their home, they can oftentimes are equipped with a box or a wall plate where they press that and medical personnel arrive. What I did to you was a trick. What those things are life-saving tasks. So next time you see an assistance dog, I agree, they're pretty. We keep them well-groomed so that when they're underneath the tables beside you, we're eating dinner and they're there, that you don't have to smell them. And they do look great. They're well-groomed. Because we don't want an unkept dog in a restaurant. We don't want that. But remember that they don't do tricks. They do tasks. Blaine does tricks. And if you stay with me, I promise that I will show you what I did at the end of the thing. So you can go home and amaze your friends in the snow, because you're going to be inside anyway playing charades. This will be great for them. But I wanted you to understand that you have to be committed, and that these dogs are committed to knowing over 100 tasks that not only assist their owners, but in some cases they save their life. So I need you to be committed in your own life. Do you have that ability that you're never, ever going to quit? No matter what happens and life knocks you down, you're like, I got this. You will never, ever, ever quit. You're going to dream big. You're going to be bold. You're going to be brave. You're going to be committed. And there's a lady in about 5 rows back that's looking at me saying, I don't know. I see the doubt. I see the doubt on many of you. Some of you are saying, life isn't that easy, Blaine. It's not that clean. How can you stand up there in your cheap suit, black shirt, comfortable shoes, and tell us that we need to be just try and try again. If you try something that doesn't work, you try it again. If you try it again, it doesn't work, what do? You try it again, but differently. I don't want you to go insane. When you get knocked down, what happens? You get back up. You get knocked down again, you get back up again. Life does not define us by the number of times we get knocked down. It defines us by the number of times we get back up. But life isn't always clean. I understand that. You can be going along, you can be in your bold step, you can be being brave, and all of a sudden, boom, illness. Oh, lose a job. Relationship falls apart. You lose a loved one. Have you ever been there? Life's not clean. In 2010, that was my year. And I'm going to share a little bit of my story with you because I can't share anybody else's story. It's not fair to tell this story on anybody else. 2010 was my year. I was running a successful business. And then 2010 happened. and it was like a Batman cartoon. Lost almost all my business overnight. Shot to the gut. But it didn't stop there. That same year, after being a successful person for most of my life, I've led a charmed life. I had to give my house back to the bank. Didn't stop there. You know, life's funny that way, isn't it? Just when you think you've got life on the ropes, it knocks you right back. In the middle of losing my business, in the middle of having to give my home back to the bank because there was not enough time to save it financially, I watched my mom's life slip away from her over a 3-month period of time. In 2010, life took everything that meant anything to me away from me. It left me hopeless. It left me homeless for a short period of time. I was living out of my truck for a short period of time. Any of you ever found yourself here? I hope you never do. When I talk about commitment, when you get there, you know, I lost my mom that year. That's true. But she left me with a few things because I was there for the 3 months right beside her bed. She left me with the idea that I should dream big. She left me with the idea that I should be bold, and I've shared that with you. She left me with the idea that I should be brave. And she left me with this idea that I couldn't quit. Even though she had lost her fight, I was still in my fight. And I had to get back up. And I had to go on. And I want to let you know that sometimes when you're there, when you're at that low place, when commitment doesn't seem possible, that you don't have to go it alone. You may have a friend or a loved one that's going to be there for you. You're going to get a second chance. My second chance came one night. I went to a social event during that time. And you say, Blaine, if it's that bad, why are you doing a social event? I'm going to be honest. I didn't know where my next meal was coming from. I went for the food. I didn't have enough gas to get there, but I drove there anyway because I needed food. And I spent the night mingling with my friends and with everyone else, and I never told a soul how bad it was for me. I'd been a successful businessman. I had run successful charities. I had retired basically at the age of 35 and went sailing. I taught people how to be successful. I taught people how to chase their dreams. I'm not going to tell anybody. Too much pride. So I'm at this party, and I'm leaving. And I'm saying my goodbyes, and I'm being as happy as I can be. One, because I now have a full belly. And I'm leaving, and a gentleman walks up to me, somebody I didn't know. It would be as different as me knowing you. We'd seen each other, but we really didn't know each other. And he shook my hand, and he said, Blaine, it was good to see you. And he had the warmest smile. And in his palm, I felt there was something there between our two hands. And when I pulled back, there's a $50 bill. I told you, I haven't told anybody that I'm that bad off. And I was shocked. I looked at him, and I know that I had this look on my face. And he said, I just had a feeling that you could use this right about now. And I said, I can't accept that. I have no idea how I can ever or when I could ever repay it. I was that low. Here I was coming from a very successful business to looking at $50 and saying I didn't know how I was ever going to pay it back. And he said, it's not a loan, it's a gift. And when you're done with it, I want you to take that and give it to somebody else that can use it. Since 2010, when that happened to me, it was the first step for me climbing my way back to where I am. I have given that $50 back to over 100 people, always in $50 increments. So when you're down there, it's okay to accept a little help. It's the fastest way out. I began that day climbing my way back out of where I was. My business came back. It's better than it's ever been. I have a yacht delivery business. I move boats across the world, and it's better than it's ever been. I climbed my way out from where I was. I'm not up on this stage by accident. Ladies and gentlemen, I earned this. Every step of the way, I earned this. You can earn whatever it is you want in life. You keep stepping. But what if 2010 had dealt me something differently? What if, like we talked about over here, in 2010, I was in an accident that left me with a physical disability, left me with a mobility impairment, left me with the inability to go back to work. What if it left me in a place where I needed people to care for me on a regular basis because I couldn't care for myself, not because I didn't want to, but because some simple things like opening and closing doors, turning on and off lights, helping me transfer from my wheelchair to the bed, or something more unique to all of us after all this food, transferring just to the restroom. What if that had been my 2010? That $50 would have been nice, but what about the value of an assistance dog? Would that have been a better value? Could that have changed my life? That's what Paws with a Cause does. For 35 years, that's what they've done. When you're facing something that's that difficult, that life-changing, and sometimes it happens young in life, sometimes it happens as we're older in life, we don't know. It could be us tomorrow. It could be me tomorrow. I could lean up on this stage and I could fall this time. You better catch me. I could fall right here because I don't hear that voice saying, don't do it. But I'm very serious about this. Paws with a Cause answers that call. They'd like to answer more of those calls. The only difference between who they help and who they can't help right now, it's not staff. It's not the number of dogs. Their breeding program is amazing. It's not the number of clients. Trust me, they are lined up out the door. The difference is funding. I'm not going to lie, it's funding. So, if you are dreaming big, if you're being bold, if you are being brave in it and you are now committed to getting back up, to trying yet again, then you have what? You have 4 of the 5 steps that I promised you. I told you I was going to give you 5 steps today, 5 key ways to get more out of life, to be more successful. So what are we going to do? We are going to dream what? Big. Here we go again. We're going to dream what? Big. See, I'm not going to quit on you. We're going to be what? Bold. Then we're going to be what? Brave. We're going to be committed. And there's only one last thing to be. I've been doing it up here the whole time. I want you to be happy. I want you to have joy in your life. I want a little pep in your step. Folks, you can't go out there and live your life by dreaming big. I'm bold, I'm brave, I'm committed, I'm sad. That doesn't work, does it? Bruce, can you help me out? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to find some of that joy in your life. I want you to be committed. I want you to back it up, but I want you to be brave. I want you to be bold, and I want you to dream big. Bruce, get up. Come on, people. Put your hands together. If you can't find happy, I'm going to find it for you. I can see you sitting down. Come on. You got a white boy dancing on the stage. Get out of your seat. Where's your woo-hoo? Come on. It's not enough to dream big. It's not enough to be bold. It's not enough to be brave. And your commitment, I want you to be committed, but it's not enough. You need to be happy. People in the front sitting down, you should be dancing. These people are having fun. Told you before, it's not what you get in life, it's wanting what you get. I want you to be happy. We have dogs dancing, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Give yourself a hand. We're not done yet. We're almost done. We're not done yet. That is the last key. Ma'am, are you okay? We have a slight emergency up front here. Seat came down on somebody's foot. We're going to be okay. Out. So the last thing, I need you to be happy. Do you feel better right now? Right now, do you feel better? Yes. I get up every morning. I put on my superhero cape. You'll see my business cards at the back. They've got me in my superhero outfit. I jump on the bed and I dance. I may not get anything else done, but I'm going to be happy. Nothing else may happen that day, but I'm going to be happy. Paws with a Cause has been bringing joy to people for 35 years. as they're living with disabilities. They've been bringing independence to people with disability for 35 years. They've been giving a sense of freedom for 35 years. Ladies and gentlemen, what you see as a dog, they see as a miracle. And we have something very special for you today. I wasn't it. I thought I wanted to be the special person. They said, no, you're not the special. All week long, you've walked past these dogs, and you've not been allowed to interact with them. Most of you have not been allowed to interact with them because they've been working. They've been wearing their superhero capes. And when they are in cape, you already know it. You've heard it all week. They're working. Now, I want to introduce someone to you that is here with us today, and I can't tell all their stories, but I'm going to tell one story before I let you go in the back. And what they're going to do, they're going to actually take some capes off and let you interact with the dogs. Something they don't normally do, but they're going to let that happen today. I want to introduce to you somebody who you might have seen on the morning show with me, Erin Orso. Now, Erin Orso allowed me to share her story with you, and it's a personal story. It's hard to necessarily have the courage to do that, but she's allowed me to do it. And she is here with Mork. She's right up here in the front. Here's Erin. Let's thank Erin for letting me share this story. Erin is partnered with Mork, and Erin is a young lady that began having seizures at age 17. Wasn't born with it. We talk about things happening in life. She began having seizures at the age of 17. Doctors don't know why, but we definitely know that it's happened. And she was telling me a story that when she was in college, she found herself, and it's a big college, on the far other side of the university with no keys, no wallet, and no idea how she got there. No idea where she was. How intimidating, how fearful would that be to you? To just wake up. She was driving her car before she really understood the dangers that she was in. And she, what we call, came to in a parking lot. No idea where she was. No idea how she got there other than she was driving. Grateful. On your hands and knees, crying, grateful that nobody was injured. She doesn't drive anymore, ladies and gentlemen. It's okay. When you get off the boat, she doesn't drive. Mork drives. So let's take this seizures. And what does Mork do for her? Because what you don't understand is you see a pretty dog with a cape, but Erin's disability is invisible. People with seizures tend to get into a trance state and can walk right off of things like stairs. They fall down, they have serious injuries. Mork has been trained to block her. No matter whether she is completely alert or not, if Erin was on stage and she went to walk this way, Mork would be right there, blocking her. Mork's a big dog for a reason. If she came this way, we'd block her. If you saw the morning show, we were on the television thing last night or this morning, and the tripod for the camera was 4 feet away from us. And as Erin came around the corner, boom, there was Mork. Seems like a simple task. Keeps her safe from falls. If she starts to have a seizure, sometimes she'll get an aura. She tells me sometimes she gets an aura, and she'll know that it's coming so she can sit down and be safe and find someplace safe to be. But if that doesn't happen, as she falls, Mork tries to break her fall a little bit. Lay her down a little easier so she doesn't have a serious injury. In Erin's case, we talked about the vagus nerve stimulator. Put it in your chest for those people that have seizures. Can help divert or eliminate certain seizures. And if you understand anything about seizures, every time a person has a seizure, it does a little more damage. So wouldn't it be nice to have a device that could lessen that? Well, when that happens to Erin, Mork brings her the magnet if she's not near it. If they're in their house, Mork goes, and it's severe, Erin gives the command, Mork calls help. If she's not alert to call help, Mork may call help anyway. If they're in public, Mork will go get help, bring you back. Erin is one story. And the reason I wanted to tell Erin's story, because I can't tell everybody's story. There's 10 people here today that are living with disabilities, and they're here on this cruise because Paws with a Cause and Royal Caribbean made it possible for them to be here. It's their third cruise. Without that assistance dog, they probably couldn't be here as safely. Erin couldn't be here. Now, what I haven't told you is Erin's married. And her husband, until just recently, was serving our country. And as you know, if you are an American, our troops tend to spend a lot of time away right now. He worried sick about her. Every time he'd go away, he was just, what's going to happen? What if something happens to you? They'd have to have a neighbor program where people come. All his fears went away. His peace of mind was now clear when Mork entered the picture. Actually, this is the second dog, but so let's hear it from Mork. So now Jason can be out there serving his country. God bless him. Erin can be safe thanks to her assistance dogs from Paws with a Cause. God bless them. And these stories are not told very often. People with disabilities don't necessarily want to tell their stories. Thank you, Erin, for letting me tell yours. So here's what we're going to do. I don't want to stampede. Paws with a Cause has information at the back of the room for you. Newsletters. If you'd like to learn more about how to get involved with their foster puppy raising, can you imagine having one of those cuddly noses at home with you? You say that. Can you imagine cleaning up after them? I'm just kidding. Puppies are great. The puppy program is great. They already have 180 families, but they could always use some more help. If you would like to get involved or learn more about what they do, I couldn't answer all the questions from up here today. I couldn't talk about all the disabilities and the special needs that are met by these dogs. I talked about some of them. Information in the back. If you'd like to get involved and provide some financial donations, I'm going to be bold about it. I'm going to be brave about it. We need your help. We need your help. They need your help. We need to have more stories like Erin told in today's society. And if you think that I did an okay job, that I didn't fall on you, twice now, it's almost 3. See your hands, come on, sexiest man alive. If you think I did a good job for you today, I do a lot of different things, folks. Dream Building Enterprises, we do seminars, workshops, we do success coaching, and I speak all over the world. If I can do something for you as an individual, as an organization, or for your business, my cards are in the back. I'm the one that looks like a superhero in my picture. You might just want the picture. Please, give me a hand for all the people here with Paws with a Cause, 10 dogs. Give yourself a hand, because you're now going to dream big. You're going to be bold. You're going to be brave. You're going to be committed. You're going to live with joy. And you're going to be happy. You're going to live above the noise, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for coming. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your cruise.